Hey guys, how you doing? So, something that I've noticed in the previous videos that I've done, there's a certain sound of like an echo resounding, and I don't notice it because I generally speaking use my earphones or my headset to edit my videos because I don't want to bother my roommate who isn't really part of this whole ordeal. And it wasn't until I started listening on my phone as I was driving between deliveries at my work because I do deliveries for my job. And I noticed with the video quality or the audio quality was okay. It was just the one thing that was really annoying was the echo. And so I decided to move from where I usually record my audio and moved it over into a different room. And hopefully this one doesn't echo as much. There's carpet, it's a much smaller room, and it definitely doesn't feel like it shouldn't be echoey. If it is, I apologize, and I'll find out at the end of the video once I'm done recording and start editing. I'll find out if it is good or not. But even if it isn't, let me know if you guys enjoy this new kind of audio type deal. Now, with that out of the way, you probably didn't even give two shits about that. You came here for school, prison, anime review, otherwise known as Kangoku Gakuen. Now, as always, I'm going to start off with a little summary synopsis of the anime. Now, Kangoku Gakuen, or Prison School, takes place at this school called Hachimitsu Private Academy. Now, Hachimitsu Private Academy was a revered and elite all-girls boarding school on the outskirts of Tokyo, once upon a time. But with the new school year comes a revision to school policy. Boys are to be admitted into the student body for the first time ever, but on his first day at Hachimitsu, Kiyoshi Fujino discovers that he's one of only 5 boys enrolled at the school, their numbers overwhelmed by the 1,000 girls in the student body. Is it heaven or hell that awaits them? I have to just stop right there. That's basically the end of the synopsis, but I just gotta detour real quick. Kiyoshi already knows the other 4 boys. They transferred in from a different high school. I don't remember what was the specifics, and I don't remember if they actually do bring it up in the anime. But in the manga, they mention briefly that they were transferred in from a different high school, and they grew those 5 grew up with each other. So just that little misconception out of the way. And then also I would like to mention, yes, this was a manga. Now it was adapted by JC Staff, which is a very outstanding studio, and they have much of my respect especially after their adaptation of Prison School. Now, there's a few things that I also just want to clarify here. If you are not into ecchi material, if you are not into anything that revolves around sexualization of bodies or jokes thereof, you should just stop watching. This is not an anime for you. This is very similar to Monster Musume and very similar to Shimoneta in that it's talking about, it has a lot of sexual references. And just so you know, that is one of the main cornerstones of Prison School, and how its comedy is based off of that as well. So if you do not like ecchi material, you just stop watching, go watch another review of mine, or watch another reviewer with their vast amount of anime that they've reviewed thus far. Go watch something else if you want something different, because ecchi is about 75% of this anime. Ecchi Comedy. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, now we can talk about what I think personally of this series. There was actually a lot of things I wasn't sure of how to I wasn't sure how to articulate what I wanted to say about Kangoku Gakuen. Because I read the manga, and most of my memory is from the manga, so I can't really differentiate. That's also probably a good thing, because that tells me that JC Staff very effectively adapted most of the manga into the anime. I am very appreciative of that. The first and foremost thing that I have to bring up is just how hilarious this anime is. I absolutely loved and enjoyed every second of the comedy because it's so it's so ridiculous. I'm sorry, but it is just absolutely ridiculous how funny this sense of humor is to me. If you don't like ecchi, then this is definitely not the place for you. And there's just so much of that ecchi material though, and it's not even blatantly pointed out or anything. It just is there, and you can tell it's there, and it's in your face. But it's not like fan service where they're like, "Look, we have breasts protruding into your face on the screen. Do you like it? Huh? Do you are you not entertained?" Like that's how some fan service works, and it's very distracting from the story and distracting from the rest of the series that you're watching. However, for Prison School, they're not like, "Look, we have breasts presented to you on a silver platter." No, it's more like they're going about their own way while shoving it into your face. Like they don't say any. They're not like trying to be some auctioneer saying $5 for this magnificent view. Oh, $5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, sold. No, it's not like that. They're just like, yeah. And then if you bring it up to them, then they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we had this." So, like it's that kind of fan servicey kind of thing, because they're not in your face about it vocally. Visually, they are. The second thing that I gotta say is how over the top it is. You would think that hilarity and over the top would go hand in hand, and they kind of do in most cases. But for Prison School, I had to separate them because there's a different thing that's over the top compared to the hilarity. The over the top that I'm thinking of that differentiates these 2 points that I consider good for Kangoku Gakuen is that the characters are just so fucking ridiculous. They're so ridiculous. What do I mean by ridiculous? Well, let's think about this for a second. When I say ridiculous, I'm talking about, like for example, in the first episode, all 5 boys are saying, "Yeah, let's go peek on the girls, let's go peek on the girls." And it's like, that's a good, it's just, oh my god. Kiyoshi is the main character, quote unquote, is the main character. But later on in the series, all 5 of them kind of slowly become main characters. And my personal favorite is Gakudo, just because of how ridiculously over the top he is. He's a total neat about, He's a total neat about the specific time and era, I think in the Chinese history. I don't remember if there was Chinese history or Japanese history. I apologize if I'm butchering or bastardizing history. All I know is that it's just he's obsessed with this specific like time frame, or like in history, very specific time frame. And he speaks as though he's from that time frame. I know that is like early 1600s, 1500s, somewhere around there. Maybe even 1200s, I don't know. But he speaks like as though he's from there, and he calls his honorific for Kiyoshi is Kiyoshi Dono, and it's shit goes. It just is so funny how the chemistry between Gakudo and Kiyoshi, you especially see in the first arc of the manga, and they develop a very close bond because they're trying to get out of the school. And I'm not going to say much more beyond that. I'll just say that Gakudo is particularly the most over-the-top character I have seen ever. In any of the anime that I have ever seen, he is definitely probably the most over-the-top, ridiculous anime character. Just because of how absurd he is with his obsession and at the way he holds himself up as. It's so ridiculous, and it's just so great. Now, sometimes I can't think of any in particular, but I do know that I have heard of anime that don't know its place. They don't particularly know that they're actually funny, or they don't actually know that they're serious, or something like that. when a serious anime is trying to make fun of something, it's really hard for it to do that when it's intentionally forgetting. When it's intentionally forgetting that it's a serious anime. And it spends like 20 minutes on something that's supposed to be funny. And it's such a rough shift of paradigm of the sense of like the atmosphere. It's such a rough shift. And it just kind of brings you to think, well, I mean, I guess it doesn't realize that this isn't okay for this particular anime. Or something that's supposed to be lighthearted and funny, just all of a sudden, like no transition, 0 to 60 to serious. And it's like, why? You're not supposed to do this. There's no reason for you to do this. Prison School is not one of those. It knows that it's supposed to be lighthearted. And that's the best part about this, is that throughout the entire series, you're thinking to yourself, oh shit, this is probably a very serious situation. And things are very serious. And I will admit, when I was first reading the manga, up until about halfway through the second arc, I was thinking to myself, damn, this is really serious, oh man. But then, towards the end of the second arc, which is where the series cliffhanged off, spoilers, cliffhanger led off to the second arc. I digress. The comedy and the humor that's in this series is that it's serious, quote unquote, serious about the entire story. It's serious about the entire situation. Again, quote unquote. What I mean is that the humor is in how serious it is. How serious the characters are despite the situations they're given. And the overarching situation that they're stuck in a prison, yes, that is very serious. But then there's situations that get thrown at them that are either serious or pretty funny. But then the characters almost always react just dead serious. And that's where almost everybody gets their laughs from. That is where you will get your laughs from. The fact that it's so serious, even though it's supposed to be, quote unquote, a comedy. And it may be lost on to some people. It may be lost on some people. They might actually think, why is this a comedy? This is actually very serious, or something along those lines, or something. But in actuality, it's more being serious for the sake of comedy. Like a very quick example of this would be so the student council is in charge of the whole prison system and whatnot. I'm going to try and be as spoiler-free as possible, but if I fail, then there should be some annotation somewhere to just lead you off to the next good point about this series. The Underground Student Council is in charge of maintaining this prison. In fact, they're the reason why these boys are in prison, because the Underground Student Council president caught them red-handed while they were being peeping toms. But so, Kiyoshi and Gakuro are trying to get out. They want out for their own different reasons, which end up coinciding, making them bond and whatnot. That's the chemistry between them throughout the series. But so they have different reasons for wanting out of the prison. And they at first tried to request like outside access, but then that doesn't work out, and they actually need to break out. And in the process of trying to break out, the Underground Student Council kind of catches wind of this. They kind of figure out, wait a minute, something's not right. And they're trying to prove that these boys actually broke out. And then there was this one particular scene where they had a proof of item. And it was something that it was part of the reason why Gakuro wanted to get out of the prison, to get something. And they use this item to try and break Gakuro, and this is it's supposed to be a very serious situation, but it's really not. And Gakuro's just like that one meme with the guy wiping his sweat from Dark Souls, just literally what Gakuro was doing. And I'm not gonna say what happens at the end of that, but that whole situation was portrayed to be so utterly over the top serious, but it was really funny, and that was the whole. That would be a prime example of how the entire series kind of is in the sense of the style of humor. The fourth point that I have to say that's good is actually me personally speaking from reading the manga. They didn't really leave out anything. I can't think of anything that they left out. They also paced pretty well. I feel like we didn't really skimp out on anything, nor do I feel like it was too slow. There was a couple episodes in the middle where I personally found it to be a little slow, but only because they were building up so much tension in the atmosphere, but I already knew what was going to happen. And it wasn't a particularly highlighted, hilarious moment. It was just something there that I was like, okay, yeah, I can see why this would be. I can remember the tension that I had in this specific moment, but it isn't really that tense for me anymore. But so there was only a couple of situations there was like maybe 2 scenes I can think of off the top of my head where that was actually the case for me. But other than that, I feel like the pacing was spot on. JC Staff did a wonderful job doing that. And I also feel like the adaptation, they didn't really leave out any of the source material, which is the manga. They didn't really leave out much source material out. It felt like they had at least all of the key points in there and all the nuances that they had pertaining through the arc that they had in the manga. So overall, I think they did a very good job with the adaptation, and I applaud JC Staff for that. Now, I was sitting here actually, I've been thinking about how to do this, and I was really glad that I could actually kind of get a video up pertaining to the fall of 2015 season while I was thinking of this list of things to say about prison school. One of the first things I had issues with was trying to figure out something else to say other than the comedy, and I actually ended up not succeeding in doing that. Other than saying that Kiyoshi and Gakudo develops a very peculiar chemistry and relationship throughout the series. It's not a yaoi relationship, I can tell you that right now. It's more it's something along the lines like the comrades, which is part of the whole humor thing. But at the same time, you really do feel like they treat each other as though they are comrades and they have gone through various experiences that tested their bond. And it was very nice to see that unfold in the manga and the anime alike. So that was one of the only few other things I could think of to say that was good in terms of this anime that wasn't just all about the comedy. And then likewise, I had a hard time figuring out what I disliked. And as I was thinking about it throughout the past week, I've been thinking about this for the past week or so. The one thing that I found myself to personally, this is a very subjective thing that I have to dot down, just right off the bat saying that this is extremely subjective. In my opinion, personally, the fact that it's the same style of humor over and over again kind of defeated the purpose of the humor. And when I say same style of humor, I'm talking about the seriousness, I'm talking about the ecchi material. They kind of just go back to back with those two, and I don't feel like there's any period of time where there's no intention of comedy, meaning there's no break, and I feel like it starts slowly getting redundant. And in the manga, I actually think, if I recall correctly, I think I actually did suffer the same thing when I was reading the manga, because I don't think I read the manga all the way through when I first found it. I think it had 110 chapters or so. I didn't read it all the way through at the very beginning as soon as I found it. No, it was like I read a couple of chapters here and there, and I took my time because I think it was because of the humor. It got old. Not super fast, but it gets old. And here we are, I think chapter 180, 185, somewhere around there. And I'm starting to it's partially because they haven't updated in a while, but there was a period of time, like a month or two, where I actually kind of stopped reading the manga because I just needed a break from the style of humor, the seriousness, the whole redundancy of the seriousness and the ecchi material. It gets old. Not super fast, but it gets old, for me personally. I don't know if that will be the case for you guys. I don't know if that will be a case in any situation. I don't think that might be a case for you. Just a heads up that is what I found for me personally in my experience going through this anime. Now, I've gone over several things that I liked about the anime, and then, almost in a sense of a hypocritical way, I kind of flipped around and said, yeah, the comedy was good, but it was used too much. Like, that's kind of a hypocritical thing for me to say, because if I like the comedy, then I should be okay with them using it over and over again. You might get that, you might not, I don't know. I don't really care. That was all I could really think of after about a week of me thinking hard for what to say about this anime. Now, there were 3 ecchi material type anime of the summer season of 2015. There were 3 ecchi comedy anime. 2 of them I've already gone over, and there's a reason why I did it in this fashion. Monster Musume was first. Monster Musume was first. If you see the video, you'll see why I'm kind of like, The second was Shimoneta. And I do recall from Monster Musume me saying that it was the best comedy anime, and then that Shimoneta was the worst ecchi comedy of summer season of 2015. I do recall saying that. So where would Prison School sit? I wonder. Rather than leave you to your own implications of what I'm possibly meaning by that, I'll just go ahead and say, yes, Kangoku Gakuen is the middleman between Monster Musume and Shimoneta, in my opinion. It is not the best comedy, but not the worst comedy. And I'm not to say that it was bad comedy, or not to say it was great comedy. It was good comedy, in my opinion. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, my rating for Prison School is 7 out of 10. Wedged right in between Monster Musume and Shimoneta. Wedged just right in between. Was that intentional? I actually will be honest, no it wasn't. No, it wasn't. In no way was that intentional. I did Monster Musume, and then I took a couple of weeks off because I had to kind of sit back and realize that I've been saying the same thing over and over again for each series that I was reviewing. And then it occurred to me, okay, well, yeah, I might as well start doing anime reviews again. Then Shitsuwa, Watashiwa came around, and then Shimoneta. And then I was thinking, well, okay, in that fashion, then I should do something like Jokamachi no Dandelion, which is going to be my next anime review, just so you guys know. Jokamachi no Dandelion is my next anime review. And then it would have been Prison School. But this time around, I decided to do Prison School, and then go on with the rest of the series that I have to review. Also, you guys are probably wondering why I've spanned all of these series out so far apart, and also why I'm still doing summer of 2015 anime reviews when we're pretty much halfway through fall of 2015. You're probably thinking to yourself, what the hell? Dude, we're already we're not almost done, but we're already like halfway through fall of 2015. What are you doing still dawdling around in summer? Here's why. I don't have that much time. I still have to work in order to be able to do this to begin with. And that is my reasoning for why I am doing this so fanned out. I kind of promised myself after Monster Musume happened, I kind of promised myself, okay, 4 days in between each review, max. Just 4 days at most. And hopefully that comes to be satisfactory for some of you guys, because you may not be that totally interested in this channel yet. For whatever reason, maybe you find my voice annoying, maybe you find the audio quality annoying, maybe you find the obscene length of these reviews annoying, but hey, to each their own. I have found a couple people that actually enjoy my channel, and I am really happy that they enjoy my channel. And I am really grateful that they decided this guy is worth my subscription. And I am truly grateful for that, because it gives me that motivation to just keep going at it, keep doing reviews, and keep doing the thing that I love doing most, which is giving my opinion about anime. Before I start rambling on, I'm just going to go ahead and end this video here. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel to see more in the future. If you didn't like the video, please dislike it or let me know why. And hopefully it's something that I can maybe fix. If it's my style, sorry, I can't help you with that. I can direct you to another reviewer that I find and I idolize. Well, okay, not idolize, but I think very highly of him. But other than that, there's really no other news that I can give other than, the thing I already said. Jokamachi no Dandelion, it's my next review to do. So, once again, thank you all so much for watching. And as always, folks, somehow, somewhere, I'll see you guys soon.